At our 70-plus person family reunion, everyone got custom hoodies with their names. I got a paper plate with a message. Since you chose not to fund $12,000 for sister's Paris photo shoot, please return all past family gifts since 2010. Mom said, family means sacrifice. I didn't reply. I just shared one file they thought was gone. It wasn't, and left a box on their porch labeled returned. At our 70-plus person family reunion, everyone got a hoodie with their name embroidered on it. My cousin Nathan said, grinning as he handed me something. Except you. It wasn't a hoodie. It was a paper plate. On it, written in thick permanent marker, were the words, since you chose not to fund $12,000 for your sister's Paris photo shoot, please return all past family gifts since 2010. Silence crashed around me. The vineyard patio buzzed with laughter, plates clinking, group selfies. Children darted between picnic tables, their tiny green hoodies flapping like flags of some clan I clearly no longer belonged to. I stood at the edge of it all, holding a plate like it was a scarlet letter. No greeting. No one offered me a drink. No name tag. No hoodie. Just judgment. Delivered on a Chinet 10-inch. Mom appeared next to me like a ghost. Lipstick perfect. Wine glass in hand. Her voice syrupy but sharp. Family means sacrifice, she said without looking at me. Something you apparently forgot. Really? I asked quietly, still staring at the plate. Because I remember the down payment I gave Uncle Ron. The rent I covered for Becca. The dental bills for Grandma that nobody else paid. Mom just sipped her drink. You always kept track. That's your problem. True generosity doesn't expect returns. No, I said. But that feels more like pressure than generosity. She smiled like I was a child who'd spoken out of turn and patted my arm. Let's not ruin the day. Ruin the day? The last time I saw this many relatives gathered in one place, it was Grandpa's funeral. Half these people had sent me messages thanking me for helping cover hospice costs. Today, not one of them looked me in the eye. They clapped for my sister, though. Oh yes. Madison, the family treasure. The one whose dream was now a $12,000 Parisian fantasy that I was apparently supposed to sponsor like it was a Make-A-Wish trip. All because I said no. Madison walked past me in her emerald hoodie with Maddie stitched in cursive gold. She didn't stop, didn't say hi, just laughed at something her boyfriend whispered. He glanced back at me and smirked. They thought they'd buried everything. All the manipulation, the lies, the receipts, the account transfers, the manipulation. They thought the file was gone. It wasn't. I didn't yell, didn't argue. I just reached into my coat pocket and let my fingers brush the cool edge of the USB drive. I let myself stay exactly 17 minutes. Just long enough for a few people to notice the plate. Just long enough to feel the shame settling in my chest like cement. Then I turned around, walked back to my car, and drove across town. That night, as the family slept off their wine and photo ops, I dropped a cardboard box on my parents' porch. One word was written across the top in thick red marker. Returned. Inside was every birthday gift, Christmas sweater, and cheap framed family photo they'd ever given me, and a printed copy of the file they thought I'd deleted. They crossed a line. I chose to respond differently. You want to know how we got here? How a family reunion turned into a petty vendetta on a paper plate. Let me take you back to the beginning, when I still thought loyalty meant something. I'm the oldest, the responsible one, the fixer. From the moment I graduated college and got a stable job in financial consulting, my family smelled blood in the water. The asks started small. Could you help your cousin with her student loan interest? Grandma's furnace broke, and no one else can pitch in. Mom and Dad are short on the mortgage this month. I said yes. Every time. I wasn't rolling in money, but I was organized. I saved, budgeted, gave generously, and they loved me for it. Until I said no. That moment came last year, when my sister Madison pitched a life-changing opportunity. She'd found a Parisian photographer who did luxury transformational photo shoots for rising influencers. The cost? $12,000. For a week-long trip, wardrobe, flights, hair, makeup, hotel, editing, and God knows what else. She sent the family a Google Slides deck. I wish I was kidding. Each slide had quotes like, "Legacy begins with visuals," and "Images equal influence." Her ask was simple. I cover the entire trip. No interest. No payback. Just vibes. I said no. For the first time in 15 years, I said no. I've already supported this family beyond reason, I told them. If Maddie wants Paris, she can save up or crowdfund like every other aspiring influencer. That one no turned me into a villain. After everything we've done for you, Mom texted that night. What, like birthing me? I replied, was that a loan or a lease agreement? Dad called me 2 days later, and the words still echo in my head. You're becoming cold, he said. Unfamily. Not ungrateful. Not selfish. Unfamily. Like I'd broken some silent blood oath by refusing to sponsor my sister's vanity tour. Here's the thing. It wasn't just the Paris trip. That was the last straw after years of being exhausted by years of giving. In 2014, I co-signed on a car loan for Madison. In 2015, I helped refinance the family home to keep them out of foreclosure, yes, with my credit. In 2016, I covered Dad's back surgery deductible when insurance fell short. In 2017, I paid for Maddie's second attempt at finishing her social media management course. She never finished it. In 2018, I funded a business venture my uncle pitched that failed in 4 months. In 2019, I got hit with an IRS penalty because someone in the family gave my info to a shady tax prep guy. In 2020, I paid the rent for 3 households during the pandemic while trying to keep my own job afloat. And never, not once, did I get a thank you that didn't sound like a receipt being printed. By the time 2023 rolled around, I'd sunk over $58,000 into my family across a decade. And they kept asking, kept expecting. Like my wallet was some communal sacrifice, and I was the one who hadn't realized the ground beneath was already crumbling. After I said no to Madison's Paris stunt, I noticed things started shifting. Group chats went quiet whenever I entered. Mom started copying only Maddie on family updates. When I visited for Thanksgiving, there was no seat for me at the main table. I sat next to the Coates. Still, I tried. I offered to fund Maddie's therapy or coaching if she needed direction. No, she snapped. What I need is for my family to believe in my career. You want to hear the best part? The same week they iced me out over $12,000. I found out from an old college friend that Madison had posted a TikTok where she said, "My family is rich but toxic. They'd rather gatekeep money than support a woman's dreams." It had 137K views. I watched it 3 times. In it, she spun a narrative where I was the greedy brother clinging to his cash instead of helping his sister shine. No mention of the years I bailed her out. No context. No truth. Just clout chasing. I saved that video, downloaded it, along with screenshots of every transaction I'd ever sent, every invoice, every PayPal note, every "can you spot me for just a month" text. I backed them up twice, one on cloud, one on encrypted USB. And I waited, because I knew this family. I knew they wouldn't stop at silence. They'd go public, turn it into shame. I didn't expect a hoodie stunt at the reunion. That was new, petty, calculated. But when I saw that paper plate, I smiled. Not out of joy, out of clarity. They thought they could erase me, but they forgot who paid for the printer. The day after the reunion, I drove to work like nothing happened. I smiled at coworkers, replied to emails, crunched numbers. But inside, something had already snapped, quietly, cleanly. Like a bone that's been fractured for years and finally gave way under the weight of a single paper plate. That evening, I started printing. All of it. Bank statements. Venmo screenshots. PayPal receipts. A spreadsheet with every loan I ever gave them. Dates. Amounts. Reasons. I even highlighted the ones they'd promised to pay back and never did. The file they thought I deleted? Still intact. Now expanded. I added Madison's TikTok. Her fake crying. Her lies. The part where she looked straight into the camera and said, "Some people's love is conditional on control." Really? Then let's remove the condition. Let's remove me. That weekend, I did something unthinkable in our family. I announced boundaries. I didn't call. I didn't text. I emailed. Because if I've learned anything in 10 years of being the family's emergency fund, it's that paper trails matter. Subject: regarding recent events. Hi all. After reflecting on recent events, I've decided to formally step back from any further financial involvement with the family. Attached, you'll find a comprehensive list of every contribution I've made since 2010, totaling $58,634.87. I am not requesting repayment, only acknowledgement. Going forward, please do not contact me for money, co-signing, credit access, or financial advice. This is not a punishment. It's a boundary. If family means sacrifice, then I've already made mine. I attached the file. Then I blind copied every relative on the list. They didn't respond right away. But when they did, oh, they didn't take it well. First came Mom. You sent that file to everyone? Even Aunt Carol? Yes, I replied. Especially Aunt Carol. She paid for Maddie's prom dress. She deserved context. Then Madison called me. I let it ring 4 times before I answered. Are you serious right now? She snapped. You humiliated me. You humiliated yourself, I said, when you turned our history into a lie for likes. You couldn't just handle this privately? You had to air it like dirty laundry? You made it public first, I reminded her. TikTok? Paris pitch deck? The plate. There was silence. Just breathing. Then, I was trying to build something, she said, her voice cracking. I needed this. You had a decade, I said, and $58,000 of free rope. Then I hung up. The real storm came 2 days later, in the form of a family intervention. They cornered me at my apartment. Mom, Dad, Madison, even Uncle Ron, the guy whose business I'd bailed out with $6,500. I should have expected it, but still, I wasn't ready for how fast they flipped the script. You've always kept receipts, Dad said bitterly, like an accountant. Because none of you did, I said calmly. Someone had to keep the math straight. Mom wiped a tear. You're breaking this family apart. No, I said. You did that the moment you decided my love was worth less than my money. Ron stepped in, arms crossed. You think this makes you some kind of hero? No, I said, looking each of them in the eye. But it makes me free. Madison finally snapped. I can't believe you're doing this over a stupid hoodie. This isn't about the hoodie, I said. It's about the years of pretending I didn't matter unless I was writing a check. You're being dramatic, Dad muttered. I walked past him, into the hallway, opened my coat closet, and pulled out the box. I dropped it at their feet. Inside were 10 years of family. Birthday cards. Holiday sweaters. Photo albums. Every gift. Every letter. Every forced reminder that I was part of something bigger. On top of it all was a printout of that paper plate, taped to the inside of the lid. You want it back? I asked. Here. It's all returned. With interest. They didn't say a word. I closed the door on them and locked it. Let them shout. Let them knock. I didn't open it again. 3 hours later, they were gone. That night, I slept like someone who had finally put down a heavy load. You'd think that after all that, the paper plate, the file, the box labeled, returned, they'd finally get it. They didn't. Not at first. The morning after I shut the door in their faces, I woke up to a barrage of messages. Voicemails. Missed calls. Facebook posts laced with passive aggression so thick you could frost a cake with it. Family is about forgiveness, one of them read. Don't let pride destroy what love built, another said, posted by Aunt Melanie, who once borrowed $1,200 from me for car repairs and used it for a Cancun girls' trip instead. They weren't angry I had drawn the line. They were angry I'd drawn it in ink. But I didn't respond. I didn't argue. I let them stew in their carefully curated narrative while I got back to living. The silence that followed was the sweetest gift I'd ever given myself. For the first time in years, I wasn't fielding late-night emergency calls. No one texted me asking to spot them for rent. No one dropped by uninvited with sob stories and vague PayPal requests. And you know what filled that space? Peace. I started going to the gym again. Not for revenge, not for glow-ups, just for me. I cooked. I slept. I watched bad TV without guilt. I even booked a solo trip to Ireland, something I'd dreamed of for a decade but always shelved because what if Madison needs help with rent again? I was free. 3 weeks into my self-imposed exile, the first real shift happened. A message. From my cousin Eric. Hey, just saw everything. Wanted to say. I get it. We all saw what they did. No one said anything, but we knew. Respect, man. Then another. From Aunt Nora. I'm sorry. About how you were treated. I didn't know the full story. Thank you for the file. Turns out, the file had done more than expose finances. It exposed the rot. People started remembering things. Like how Dad once told them I was too proud to ask for help, while secretly hitting me up to pay his taxes. Or how Madison bragged about getting a MacBook for free without mentioning I bought it. They started putting the pieces together. The pedestal cracked, then crumbled. A week later, Madison posted a new TikTok. She looked puffy-eyed. The lighting was bad. The ring light had clearly been turned off. I just want to address some things, she said. People are attacking my family over private matters. Yes, I asked my brother for help. Yes, I expected him to support me. But family dynamics are complicated. He didn't have to expose me like that. Translation. She wasn't sorry. She was embarrassed. The comments lit her up. Girl, you exploited your own brother for a photo shoot? You didn't need Paris. You needed a job. He paid for grandma's teeth, and you gave him a plate? She took the video down within 48 hours. From what I hear, the influencer thing fizzled. Her brand took a hit. Sponsors dropped. The Paris photographer canceled her shoot, citing misalignment of values. Madison went private on all her socials. Meanwhile, Mom called. I didn't answer. She texted. I didn't handle things well. Neither did your father. We miss you. Can we talk? I waited 2 days before I replied. I don't need apologies. I need change. If you want me in your life, it comes with respect, not expectation. No money. No manipulation. Just honesty. She didn't answer. Not right away. But she didn't block me either. I consider that a win. The biggest surprise, though, came from Dad. Last week, I got a letter. Yes, a handwritten one. Like it was 1987. Inside was a folded photo of me at age 12, holding a science fair ribbon, beaming, and a single sentence written in his familiar, precise script. I didn't see you then. I see you now. I didn't cry, but I felt something loosen, like a knot in my chest that had been there so long I forgot what it felt like to breathe without it. They're not fixed. We're not suddenly whole. But I'm not broken anymore. And that's more than enough. They expected me to come back. Not right away, of course, but eventually. Like always. That had been the cycle for over a decade. Tension, guilt, manipulation, silence, and then me, extending the olive branch. Me calling. Me forgiving. Me paying. But not this time. This time, they underestimated what it means to truly cut someone off. Not out of anger, but out of clarity. And clarity is permanent. The first month after I walked away was quiet. Almost eerily so. No passive-aggressive messages. No surprise visits. Just silence. At first, I kept expecting a shoe to drop, a cousin to call, a guilt bomb from Mom. But the quiet stretched on. And in that quiet, I started to breathe like a real human being for the first time in years. The second month is when the storm shifted. It started with Madison's influencer brand unraveling in real time. A few savvy Reddit users pieced together her TikToks with the financial receipts I'd released. A full breakdown thread titled, "This empowerment influencer let her brother pay her life while she lied for clout," hit 60,000 upvotes in a day. She went viral, but not in the way she wanted. Her sponsorships paused. She issued a clarifying statement on Instagram that only made it worse. I never lied, she wrote. I just didn't disclose all the context. Commenters were ruthless. So your brother paid for your life for 10 years, and you gave him a paper plate? This isn't a boundary, it's a bailout scam. Where's the hoodie fund, Maddie? And like that, her dream collapsed. I didn't feel joy watching her fall, just relief. Like finally, the scales had balanced. Not by my hand, but by truth. One night, around 1 a.m., I got an email. No subject line. It was from Madison. I don't expect forgiveness, but I finally get it. That file, that was your only voice. And none of us ever listened. I'm sorry. I stared at the screen for a long time. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. I felt still. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Because her apology wasn't for me. It was for herself. And that's fine. That's healing. But my healing was already in motion. By month 3, the family lines had redrawn themselves. I started getting messages from people I never thought would reach out. Cousin Taylor, who used to laugh along with Maddie's jokes. You were always the glue, man. We just never saw how much pressure we put on you. Uncle Rick, who I hadn't spoken to in 5 years. Your dad never let me help. Always said he's got it handled. I'm sorry for standing back. Even Aunt Carol, whose backyard I once rebuilt after a storm, sent me a check for $500. The memo line simply said, "For 10 years too late." I didn't cash it. I framed it. Because it wasn't about the money anymore. It was about the shift. They weren't just seeing me. They were seeing what they'd become without me. By month 4, my world had changed entirely. I moved to a new apartment. Nothing fancy, but it faced west and got the kind of light that makes coffee taste better. I took up photography, bought a used DSLR, and started capturing shadows, corners, alleys, rust, and bloom. The kind of beauty that doesn't beg to be noticed, but changes you when you do. I began journaling, not out of obligation, but because after years of being everyone's crisis manager, I wanted to document what it felt like to live without being needed. Turns out, freedom is loud in the best way. No more waking up dreading a text that says, "Can you help?" No more reshuffling bills to cover someone's dream. No more calculating the emotional interest on every dollar I gave away. I was finally spending on me, therapy, travel, hobbies, silence. One morning, I booked a ticket to Iceland. No one knew. No one asked why. I just went. And in that space, amid glaciers, black sand beaches, and breath-stealing quiet, I remembered what it felt like to be a person, not a provider, not a fixer, not the family backbone, just a man. And the final shift came exactly 6 months after the reunion. I was out running errands when I came home to find a small box on my doorstep. No return address. Taped carefully. My name written in clean block letters. Inside, a forest green hoodie. Not just any hoodie, the exact ones they'd given out at the reunion. But this one had something stitched on the front. The one who said no. And on the back, in bold white cursive, "Finally free." There was no note, no explanation, just fabric, thread, a symbol, a quiet olive branch, or maybe a tribute. Either way, I smiled. For the first time in months, I let myself laugh, full-bodied, stupid, uncontrollable laughter. The kind that erupts when your soul realizes it's no longer in chains. And then I put it on. It fit perfectly. You want to know what closure looks like? It's not forgiveness. It's freedom. It's knowing you were never the villain, just the one who stopped bleeding for people who wouldn't even hand you a towel. It's watching the people who confuse support with obligation finally sit with their own reflection and ask, what did we lose when he walked away? And maybe, just maybe, it's knowing that somewhere out there, someone else heard your story and whispered, "Me too." So, to anyone else holding the weight of 1,000 paper plates and guilt-wrapped expectations, let go. You're not selfish for setting boundaries. You're not heartless for saying no. You're not wrong for walking away. Because love should never come with an invoice. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is pack a box. Write "returned" in thick red marker. And leave it at the door you'll never knock on again.